a seat. Sit down. Today, our session will be based on how to answer literature question, and we have picked a sample question from Necta 2019. We are going to see on how we can answer this question. The question is that one. Using characters from two novels studied, analyze body traits which should not be adapted in Tanzanian context. Students, have you understood the question?
Yes.
Do you understand the demands of the question?
Yes.
Who can tell me the key word from the question? Tell me the key word. Yes? Characters. Actually, we are going to talk about using the characters from two novels. How many novels are we going to use? Two novels of your choice. Analyze body traits. What is a trait? Behavior. It's like behavior, certain behavior, okay?
Yes.
Now, analyze body traits which should not be adapted in Tanzanian context. Okay. Things to be considered before answering the question. Before you start answering any literature question, you need to have certain points that you have to bear in mind. They are just like hints that can guide you. First, you have to identify the key word in the question, then define it. It has been said by our colleague that the key word is characters. It means characters. We are going to talk about the characters, and therefore, our discussion will bear on the character. Do you understand?
Yes.
For example, who is a character? You have to understand. Do you understand?
Yes.
Who is a character? Because you cannot start answering the question without knowing who is a character. You will go off target. You understand?
Yes.
The second hint to observe, you have to state the two novels that you intend to use in answering the question. Because not every novel can answer that question, okay? You have to pick the novel that can answer the question. So you have to state two novels that you intend to use in answering the question. But also you have to ask yourself, do I really know the demands of the question asked? That's why I asked you before. Do you really understand the question? Do you really understand what the question requires you to do? Do you really understand the demands of the question? Okay. So you have to ask yourself, do I really know the demands of the question asked? Another hint, do you know the body traits stated in the novel you have chosen to use in answering the question? Because it's not only the matter of choosing a novel, any novel. No, you have to find those traits, the bad traits indicated by the author. You understand?
Yes.
So you don't simply choose a novel. You have to consider whether you can find those bad traits, okay?
Yes.
Now, procedures of answering the question. How do we start answering this kind of a question? As I said before, you need to have the introduction party. You have to introduce. You cannot just go straight forward and start answering the question without having a brief explanation or a brief introduction to introduce the books, the authors, and whether you agree or not, if the question requires you to agree or not. So that will be found in the introduction party. Now, as I said before, you have to start by defining who is the character. So characters are living or non-living things used by the writer of a given literary work to convey a given message to the audience. Who can be the audience? Who can be the audience? You can be the audience, isn't it?
Yes.
And in the novels, we said you have to introduce now the two novels that we're going to use. In the novels, Pass Like a Shadow, written by who? Leonard Makalala, and Unanswered Replies, written by
Osman Conte.
The authors have shown different body traits or characters which should not be adopted in Tanzanian context. What are these body traits? Starting with the novel Pass Like a Shadow. Students, you understand how do I start answering the question?
Yes.
You have to state which book, which novel are you going to start with? Starting the novel Pass Like a Shadow, written by Bernard Mapalala, the following are the bad traits shown by the author and should not be adopted in Tanzanian context. 1. Drunkardness. Is it a bad trait or not a bad trait? It is a bad trait. So drunkardness. Now you have to connect drunkardness. You have to show the character who showed this bad trait in the novel. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah, you have to show the character. I hope you know the character who showed this bad behavior.
Yes.
Who is he or she? Ariel. Yeah, exactly. So this refers to the use of alcohol and other recreational drinks which may have effects on one else. This is shown in the novel by using Adia as a character who spent a lot of money on alcohol. In our society, we have people who spend their money on alcohol and other recreational drinks as a way to overcome emotional stress. This behavior is bad and should not be practiced in Tanzania since it is the source of poverty, but also it can result to street children. Okay?
Yes.
You can see the connection of how the question is answered. That first of all, you have shown the character who showed this bad trait, who is Ariel, and then you have shown the impact to the society. That do we have such kind of people who are drunkard in our community?
Yes.
We have them. So you connect a little bit, you explain a little bit about the interrelationship or the association between what is stated in the book or in the novel, plus like in the novel that you have chosen, but also what is happening, the reality, what is happening in the society. So you connect a little bit. It's how it has been shown here that this behavior is bad and should not be practiced in Tanzania since it is the source of poverty and street children. We have such kind of people who are drunkard and most of them are poor. You can find that most of them are poor, just like Adia. Adia was poor, though he was educated. Lapping is another bad trait. Lapping is shown by John. Lapping refers to the practice of doing unwilling sex with a person. John laps a buck since he was not willing to do sex with him. In order to lap her, he puts a drug which caused a buck to be unconscious. You remember that story? Eh?
Yes.
Okay. In our society, there are various criminal cases on raping. Young girls from poor families are likely to be left due to their poverty. Is how a buck was. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Therefore, raping is one of the bad traits which should not be practiced in Tanzania, since it can be the source of spreading HIV/AIDS. You remember David's father in Kampala? You remember?
Yes.
Yeah. What happened to him?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. He got HIV. But also other people in the book who passed like a shadow, because it is not that maybe they raped, but what you are saying here is that raping can be the source of being infected with what? HIV or other sexual transmitted diseases. So that is a bad trait, isn't it?
Yes.
Prostitution. Is prostitution good?
No.
No, it's a bad trait, okay? So prostitution is shown by Vicky. You remember these guys?
Yes.
Vicky, Tusime, and Kunihira?
Yes.
Okay, so Vicky, Tusime, and Kunihira reflect the bad trait. Vicky with her friends earn their income through commercial sex. In our societies, prostitution is mostly practiced by girls who sell their bodies so as to make money. The practice is bad as it accelerates the spread of sexual transmitted diseases such as HIV/AIDS. And we really have such people in our society who do commercial sex.
Yes.
It is common, isn't it?
Yes.
It is common, especially in big cities, okay?
Yes.
In big cities and towns. So this is a bad trait. Also, in the novel, we are done. We are done with the first novel. When you start moving to the second novel, you have to introduce it. Now you are going to start another novel, okay?
Yes.
Also, in the novel Unanswered Cries, the author has shown the following bad traits which should not be adopted in Tanzanian context. betrayal and corruption. Betrayal and corruption. As shown by Pa Amadu. You remember Pa Amadu?
Yes.
Okay, who was a hunter, isn't it?
Yes.
Pa Amadu and Edward Corey. You remember this boy, Edward Corey?
Yes.
You know what happened? What he did to who? Orabisi. What did he do to Orabisi? Okay, so in the novel, the author shows that Edward Corey betrays Orabisi by exposing their relationship in the court. Pa Amadu betrays Makri so by receiving corruption from Orabisi henceforth to send back the girl to her parents. When Orabisi got lost in the forest, accidentally she met this hunter known as Pa Amadu. You remember?
Yes.
Yeah. And Pa Amadu was given the responsibility of turning back the girl so that she could be mutilated or circumcised. Okay? So instead of sending the girl back, the girl corrupted it, bribed him. And actually he accepted it, he received the money, and he didn't send the girl back to the village for circumcision. Is that good? Corruption?
No.
No. It's a body, it's one of the body trait. So Pa Amadu betrays Makri by receiving corruption from Orabis, hence tries to send back the girl to her parents. Other bad traits are promiscuity and infidelity. Promiscuity is the habit of having many sexual partners. Infidelity refers to practice of having many sexual partners apart from your wife. Who had that body trait? Who had that body trait in the novels that you read? Yes, who? Okay, and the other one? Margaret?
Yes.
Okay, fine. And generally, the above discussed points reflect the bad traits as shown by various characters in the novel and answer replies by Osman Conte and Pass Like a Shadow by Bernardi Papanama. These bad traits have various negative impacts, such as easy spread of sexually transmitted diseases, social conflicts in the society, but also they can be a source of straighting children. Okay? So, frankly speaking, that is the trend of answering such kind of questions. For literature question, we have to be very systematic. And when we are answering the literature question, you have to understand the requirements or the demands of the question. Otherwise, you're going to spend most of your time answering the question. At the end of the day, you'll be out of point. You understand? Yes. So you have to stick to the key word. Again, can we remind each other, what are the things that we have to note in answering the literature question? You have to define the keywords, okay? For our question, what was the keyword? Character. We define who is a character? Can it be a living or non-living? Okay? In the literature, it's common. You can use even the non-living thing to be characters, okay?
Yes.
And what is the other thing that we have to note in answering literature question?
Mention the books and the authors.
You have to mention the book as well as the author, the one who wrote that particular book. Very good. Another important thing that you have to note when answering literature question here.
You have to choose the book to start with.
Okay, you have to choose the book to start with, okay? If you are going to use two books, for example, Pass Like a Shadow, and the other one, and Answer Replies, if you want to start with an Answer Replies, you have to finish it all before you start another book. Don't mix. Don't mix. You start with an Answer Replies, you have to be done with the Answer Replies, and then you can move to Pass Like a Shadow. That's clear?
Yes.
Yeah. And you know how to introduce the second book. I have shown you, isn't it?
Yes.
So when you introduce the second book, there is a way that you can introduce that I'm now going to start the second novel. That clear?
Yes.
But also there's something that I wanted just you to note. When you write down the title, of the novel that you use, if you write it in small letter, you have to put the quotation marks, okay?
Yes.
But if you write it in capital letter, there's no need for you to put the quotation marks. That clear?
Yes.
Okay. That is very, very important because you have to distinguish between the title of the book and the other words that you're going to write about that particular question. Otherwise, if you just leave it without doing quotations while you've written small letter, it will just be counted as it's just part of those writings that you've written down. And therefore, you haven't used any literature or any novel. Do you understand?
Yes.
Yeah. If you think that it's difficult for you to put the quotation mark, you can write the title of the book in capital letters. That clear?
Yes.
Okay. Can we keep on reminding each other concerning the things that we have to note? Any other thing that we have to note before answering a literature question? Backbencher. Yes.
The other thing is to know the demand of the question.
You have to know the demands of the question. If the question demands you to explain about conflict, explain about conflict. If it's about betrayal, explain about betrayal. Don't intermingle things, okay?
Yes.
Don't mix things, okay? So the most important thing, you have to understand the keyword and you have to understand the key, all the important information that you have to include in answering that particular question. Especially, you have to know the demands. What are the demands? Do I really know the demands of the question? Do you understand?
Yes.
Ask yourself, do I really know the demands of the question? And if you say yes, then you can be in a position to answer the question. Otherwise, if you don't know the demands of the question, you're going to waste your time answering the question that you're going to score 0 or 1. Okay?
Yes.
So you have to be very certain that I'm answering the question and I'm meeting the demands of the question. That clear?
Yes.
Okay. So thank you very much for the session. We had really a very enjoyable session. Did you enjoy the session?
Yes.
Okay. So are you now able to answer literature question in a systematic way?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. I wish you all the best.
Thank you, sir.